In this episode, let's talk about space stations. It's pretty much a given that the International Space Station will likely retire by the end of this decade. It's been up and running for about 30 years, but now NASA has teamed up with 3 American private companies to come up with designs for space stations and other commercial destinations in space. Things are getting tense on the political front, with Russia threatening to bail out of the ISS sooner rather than later, and China doing their own thing with the Tiangong space station. It's safe to say that the modern 21st century space race is going to be a big deal. Private companies in the US are now competing to be the first ones to set up their own commercial presence in space, and with NASA backing them up with over $400 million to start, America will continue to have a strong presence in low Earth orbit. They're planning to transition from the ISS to other platforms and stimulate a commercial low Earth economy led by the US. So we're going to witness some major breakthroughs in constructing the next generation space station and finding private applications for it. Picture this: a fancy space hotel with artificial gravity, a high-tech research lab, or a launching pad for exploring deep space. The infrastructure for all of that is being developed right now. Subscribe to the channel to never miss an update, and let's dive in and check out the top 5 concept designs for next generation space stations that might become a reality in this decade. This is Adventures in Space. Number 1 on our list will be Axiom Space. This company became the first to launch a fully private astronaut crew mission called AX-1 back in 2021 to the ISS as part of their plan to develop a first-ever commercial space station. NASA selected Axiom Space in January 2020 to design and develop commercial modules to attach to the International Space Station at first. NASA and Axiom recently completed the preliminary design review of 2 modules, as well as the critical design review of the module's primary structure. This really signifies that the construction is already on the way, and Axiom partners at Thales Alenia Space began welding and machining activities for the primary structures of Axiom Station's first module. Axiom Space is preparing for a 2025 launch of the first section of their next-generation platform that will operate in low Earth orbit. Axiom is the only company nowadays with the privilege of connecting its modules to the ISS. Eventually, Axiom Station will detach from the ISS and function on its own after the final Axiom Power thermal module will be delivered. This is all planned to happen in the next 5 years, and by the end of this decade, Axiom will host people, research, and manufacturing that will lead development for numerous industries using techniques that are available only in microgravity. Last couple of words to say about their visionary creator Philip Stark, who had only one theme in mind when designing Axiom crew accommodations: multi-directional freedom. The egg-like structure symbolizes nest-like comfort, complete with unobstructed views of our home planet, the first such place for humans to truly contemplate our place in the cosmos. All tensions aside, Axiom Space Station really is a leader in the space station's race so far. With possessing ISS exclusive agreements to dock with it, this space station concept really is a reality. Number 2 on our list will be the Lunar Gateway. We're not talking about some huge space station here, but rather a handy station that will be set up in the lunar orbit. Its main purpose will be to serve as a hub for astronauts to transfer from one spacecraft to another. It may not fit this list properly since it won't have a permanent crew, but will be conducting research on the Lunar Gateway remotely non-stop, 24/7, 365 days a year. And nobody has ever had a space station of any kind near the moon. The first parts of this gateway, called the PPE Power Propulsion Element and HALO Habitation and Logistics Outpost, are set to be launched on a Falcon Heavy rocket in the next few years. It'll take about a year for them to reach the moon using solar electric power propulsion. Once those initial components are in place, the gateway will be ready to host the first crew of Artemis 4 around late 2026. It'll have some similarities to the International Space Station, like a cupola for the crew to enjoy the view, exercise equipment, and places to sleep. The Lunar Gateway will have an elliptical orbit, meaning we'll get as close as 10,000 kilometers to the moon and then go out to about 70,000 kilometers. It'll complete a full revolution every 6.5 days. Now, here's the thing. Gateway will operate far from Earth's protective atmosphere and magnetic fields that largely shield humans from space weather and radiation. Radiation impacts on the human body will be much greater on missions to the Moon or Mars, where exposure to high-energy charged particles can cause adverse health effects, including increased risk of cancer, changes in motor functions and behavior, and degeneration of tissue. The Gateway will advance scientists' knowledge of space weather to help them understand risks posed by radiation. Truly one-of-a-kind research facility that will pave the way for advancements in space station industry as a whole. For the number 3 of our list, we must come back to the low Earth orbit to discover an orbital reef. In December of 2021, NASA awarded Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin company $130 million to develop their own design of commercial space station. The Blue Origin Orbital Reef is a proposed space station that aims to be more accessible and inclusive. It is envisioned as a luxurious orbital hotel that can accommodate up to 400 guests, allowing space tourists to interact with researchers, scientists, and even government officials. If everything goes according to plan, the Orbital Reef will become the world's first space hotel, providing artificial gravity to ensure guests have a comfortable stay. It will even feature amenities such as an in-house movie theater where people can watch their favorite sci-fi films and proudly claim, "I've been there. I've been in space." Bezos formed partnerships with Sierra Space and Boeing. Boeing will be responsible for constructing the Boeing Starliner shuttle to transport guests to and from the Orbital Reef. Let's hope this concept space station maintains its efficiency similar to the speedy delivery of the Amazon online orders. Another upcoming commercial destination in low Earth orbit is the NanoRacks Starlab, and a number 4 on our list. This concept space station, currently in its early development stages, is being created by Voyager Space and the defense aerospace giant Lockheed Martin. The station is scheduled to launch by the end of the decade, with plans for regular crew rotations to conduct research and facilitate commercial and industrial activities. Although not as populous, Starlab aims to be like a small-scale city in space. The station's design is fascinating, featuring a large inflatable habitat constructed by Lockheed Martin, a metallic docking node, a power and propulsion element, and even a sizable robot arm to handle cargo and payloads from visiting spacecrafts. In the future, Starlab will also house the George Washington Carver Science Park, a cutting-edge laboratory dedicated to scientific research and equipped with manufacturing capabilities. And to finish up our list, I would like to introduce you to a company called VAST. This company, with audacious ambitions in space habitation and even without financial support from NASA, announced plans to launch the world's first commercial space station on their own called Avon 1. Their short-term vision includes deploying the first module of their space station using a Falcon 9 rocket, showcasing their determination to establish themselves in the industry. This should happen no later than 2025. While introducing artificial gravity in space contradicts the core objective of space exploration, which benefits from microgravity, VAST's spinning artificial gravity space station have a purpose in providing extended accommodations for individuals working in space. VAST has considered the viability of their business model and plans to operate a growing array of co-orbital modules that float in zero gravity, alongside their spinning stick station. This approach aims to strike a balance between the benefits of microgravity and artificial gravity, mitigating the adverse effects of prolonged exposure to microgravity. VAST's entry into the space station arena promises to revolutionize space exploration and shape the future of widespread space station fleets. That's it for our top 5 next-generation space stations list, and please do not hesitate to comment down below all of your thoughts about what other space station concepts may occur this decade, or maybe they already did. Subscribe to the channel to stay updated everything space industry related and more. This was Georgie with Adventures in Space, and I will see you at the next one.